Hey, everybody, welcome back to Family, Health, and Hustle, the podcast. Oh, man, it has been a while. We launched our first couple episodes, and then things just kind of got crazy. And so, for the maybe one or two people out there that listened to those first episodes, I thank you for listening to those. And sorry we went missing there for a minute, but we are back. And, a lot's changed since we last left off. But we are, I'm recommitting to jump on the podcast and to get this going because I think it's important. And quite frankly, as I may have mentioned in those first two episodes, one of the reasons of this podcast existing is just, for people who really didn't have a calling in life. It took us a little while to figure out what we wanted to do. Maybe we didn't have a goal, whether it be business, whether it be within family, whether it be fitness. We didn't have a goal till later. It's never too late to get started. And the most important thing is you don't fail unless you give up. And I think that's a testament to coming back to this and saying, you know what, this is something I thought was important. I let some other things kind of get in the way and distracting a little bit. Got very involved in my current day job. Have you ever heard of the term the golden handcuffs? When you're making money and you're doing well in your day job, but sometimes those side hustles and things you want to do, they get put on the back burner, and that's okay. We'll talk more about that through some of the coming episodes, but that basically happened to me. I got super involved in work. I'm definitely a team player. I like being involved. I like seeing things be accomplished on the team, and it just kind of made me put this aside. And then a few things happened, and I was like, you know what? I can't just always be maybe working on those goals. I have to really be working on my own goals as well and kind of revisit these goals and see like, hey, I've kind of let some of these slide and I need to jump back on it. And that's okay. I've learned a lot over the last, couple years, several years, whatever you want to say. That's okay. There's no shame in saying I dropped the ball on a few goals, whether it be, to be honest, some of my fitness goals have fallen through the cracks. That's okay. I'm getting started again. Some of my family goals, I wouldn't say those fell through the crack. I think those definitely are still a high priority for me, but maybe I lost focus on a couple of those goals and I just kind of went with the flow for a little while. And now I'm trying to reinitiate and go back and start pursuing those goals again. But one of the main things, there's a few things that kind of got me to say, you know what, we need to start this podcast again, because it's always been on my mind. Obviously, I started it and I did a few episodes and I really enjoyed it, and then it just kind of stopped. And so there's been several times over the last few months where I was like, I really should start doing this again. And I just never did. Life has been busy. But some things have changed. I now work fully from home, whereas I used to be in the office. I have the blessing of having a job where I can work from home, so it gives me a little bit more flexibility. And so I can, make sure I make time to do these recordings and to work on a few other goals. And the other thing, there's something really important. I've been doing this marketing course recently. I stumbled upon it online. Someone on social media had it, and I decided, what the heck? I like learning. I'll do it. It costs a few bucks to do the course. It was a 15-day challenge, and it's had great information, lots of good information. And I will, point people in the direction of that course later. But one of the main things that was discussed in one of the episodes, if you will, one of the videos, they did an interview with Robert Kiyosaki, who is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad years ago, probably when I was in high school, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I wasn't fully committed, kind of as I've mentioned, I think in the first or second podcast that, I didn't have priorities of those goals. I just was kind of going with the flow, and I just was wishing one day I'll make it, but never really set any goals or any action plans. But anyway, so as I was watching one of these videos, they showed an interview with him, and he said something so powerful that was super important to me. And basically he said, there's a negative connotation around those who have success and wealth. And I think I think we all know someone who's a little bitter towards someone who's accomplished more. Or they like to talk behind their back, or whatever it is. Like there's always that person in our network of people that we're like, you know what, they're kind of playing the victim a little bit, or they're putting down someone else's success, or thinking that person's trying to show off when really that person has worked very hard to accomplish those goals. And Robert Kiyosaki says one thing. He was talking about how a lot of people say that the rich are greedy, and he says actually the rich are not greedy. They produce. They have to produce to grow their wealth, whereas the poor are the ones that are greedy because they don't have to produce. They just show up and they kind of mooch off something that's already been created for them, whether it be a job, whether it be, certain things like. And again, this is out of this is a generalization. It's obviously there's exceptions to some of this stuff, but what he said was, the rich produce and the poor essentially consume, and that really hit me hard. I was like, man, it's so true. Because as I've seen more and more success in my life, the things that I'm more successful at are things that I've had to create something. So since we last launched the last couple episodes, my wife and I have started a frozen dessert truck, and we've seen a ton of success with it. It's not making enough money where I can leave my day job for it, but it's seen a lot of success, and it's because we are producing things that people want. And I thought that was so great. And he even mentions, he's like, for him to create wealth, he has to write books. He has to create content. He has to create games. He has to, do such and such. He has to produce. He has to create. And that really hit me hard because even with our frozen dessert business going decently well, it's only good seasonally because it's in the summer. But, I'm trying to think like, how can I get even more success? Like, how can I take this to the next level? Or is there something else I need to be focusing on as well simultaneously? And that quote just really hit me hard, that I have to be producing. I have to be creating. And that when I was younger, I really wanted to create content. I wanted to be a filmmaker. I wanted to be an actor. I just loved creating and honestly creating good experiences for people. And again, I'll go into this later, but I just loved creating things. I thought at first it was just like, I just like being an actor. I like being the center of attention. But really what it came down to was I liked creating, laughter and joy and these emotional scenes and different things, whether it be me acting in it, singing in it, whatever, or me actually, trying to film it in middle school and in high school, making these little movies, making family movies. Like I just enjoyed putting together something that people liked. And that translates into business for me too. Like I like creating businesses that provide, good services or products or create good experiences, which is kind of what got my wife and I back into the frozen dessert truck business. But I heard another quote within this marketing program. They quoted someone else. I apologize, I don't remember his name. But basically, he was talking about how, when we're younger, there's things that we're really good at, and we tend to get them suppressed or we forget about them. And, me wanting to do film and acting and all this stuff, like, I just got to the point where I thought, I'm never going to make any money at this. I enjoy it, but I need to find ways to make money and maybe do this as fun on the side. And that's kind of what I've been doing over the last several years is I'll do some community theater or things like that. But as I heard these two quotes kind of simultaneously about, being a producer and not just consuming and, creating, and then also about this thing of, kind of find yourself and as to what you used to like that was suppressed long ago and, kind of bring that out. Let's see if that's something that you still enjoy. I just thought to myself, you know what? I've lost the habit of creating content, but that is what I must do. I have to create content. I have to get out there and start doing something. And again, I look towards the podcast because this is something that I think I will enjoy. And I haven't done a lot of it in the past. Like I said, I did some of the film stuff, some of the acting stuff, and I love that. But those are also a lot bigger projects. Whereas the podcasting, I just feel like, hey, this is a good shot. Let's try this. And so I'm going to start creating content again. So this is my recommitment to anyone listening out there. I am committing to not just be a consumer, but to produce and to create. And we're going to start here. We're going to start with this. Anyway, I am so stoked to be back. I leave that message with you for our first episode back. Be a producer. Don't just be a consumer. Remember who you were when you were younger and the things that you enjoyed. And, again, many of you, it's probably been suppressed for many years, but dig down deep inside some of those things that brought you joy and try to bring it out and couple it with some of the knowledge you have now. And if you don't know how to do those things and to, go forward, that's okay, because we're all in this to learn. And just because you don't know something now doesn't mean there's not a way to do it. And so I encourage all of us to get out there and to learn and grow together, which again is what Family Health and Hustle is here to do. So that being said, I'm glad to be back, guys. I will see you on the next episode, familyhealthandhustle.com. We're revamping the website, so if you happen to run across this podcast and you go on there, we do have a downloadable link, 6 Secrets to Success, which are those steps that I personally thought are the most valuable, fundamental things to start, principles to start looking towards success. Honestly, right now, I think that link is down, but we're going to try working really hard to get that back up. And when I say we, I mean me. I'm just talking about, I'm projecting for the future when there's a lot of people involved in this show, and it's something that's going to be, a lot bigger. But for now, it's just me. I'm working on getting that back up and running. I'm juggling the day job. I'm juggling the side hustle. I'm juggling family. I'm juggling, health, and we're entering the holidays here, and it's crazy. I'm with you. I know how you feel. And let's share in this journey together. So thanks so much. Talk to you next time. Thanks for coming and joining me on this podcast, Family, Health, and Hustle.